Alright, so before I get started, let me just say, if you were expecting a highly edited, well put together, well scripted, good video, this is not the video for you. I work for a living, so I'm exhausted and tired and barely had enough energy to put this video together, let alone stay awake long enough for this video to be worked on. Because I work for a living and I'm exhausted. That being said, I still wanted to say what I wanted to say. Number two, the first part of this is going to be spoiler-free. The second part has some minor spoilers, but I'll let you know when that happens. So, basically, the movie is good. Alright, this right here is, I'm going to put up my Facebook post, which is basically a review where I'm just gushing with positivity. And that was when the hype of the movie was still very strong within me. But now that the hype has sort of worn down and I've gotten a chance to think about the movie and reflect on it, I do have some minor complaints, and I wanted to address those in this video. So, if you want to know if you should go see it, the answer is yes. If you've seen the other Pirates of the Caribbean movies and you enjoyed them, the answer is yes. If you have not seen the other Pirates of the Caribbean movies or you did not enjoy them, then this movie is not for you. It's sort of like a movie for fans, I suppose. And not in the way that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, or The Force Awakens was a movie for fans, because those were just shitty movies. This movie, Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales, is significantly better than either of those movies. I kind of have a hate boner for Disney Star Wars movies because it's ruining something that I like. But Disney already owned the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie and the subsequent the other fucking movies in the series. So I liked the other movies, so I kind of expected it to be good, and it was. By the way, can we talk about just for a second how awesome it is that I mean, like when the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was being made, right, there wasn't a market for pirate movies, right? I mean, what pirate movies can you think of occurred before Pirates of the Caribbean 1? You know, Disney took a huge gamble on Pirates of the Caribbean 1. You know, there was like drugs, and there was like alcohol, and there was like sexual innuendos, and there was violence, and there was theft, and I mean, the first movie is about dead people. Like, literally. Like, dead people. You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Swan. 'Cause tonight, you're in one. And the blood, like, the wine, like, goes through his rib cage. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I didn't really like the fourth one, so I can substantially say that the fifth one is better than the fourth one. So it's good. So you should definitely go check it out. That being said, I do have some minor spoilers in order to address these minor complaints that I have. So, to give you an example of what a minor spoiler would be, in Star Wars Episode 1, there is a pod race. That's a minor spoiler. Just me saying that there is a pod race is a minor spoiler. So that's the level of spoiler we're talking about. Or like, Anakin wins the pod race is like a minor spoiler. It doesn't affect the overall plot, but it's also not something you would know just by like seeing a trailer. I don't know. Anyway, so minor spoiler alert. Nothing I'm going to say is going to ruin your experience at all, but I can understand if you don't want to, like, see any spoilers about the movie. But that's another reason why, like, I feel like it's okay to make this video, because I saw the movie pretty late. Like, I saw it, like, 2 weeks I I saw the movie so late that the theater in my town had already stopped playing it. Like, that's how long I waited to see it. Not intentionally. That's just how my fucking job is. You know, I didn't get a day off, and I was tired all the time. Still tired all the time. So, minor spoiler alert. Okay, so here. So, in the movie, the very, beginning third of the movie is revolving around Jack's compass. And this is what is called a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin is a term coined by Alfred Hitchcock because it's used in all of his movies. Or maybe not all of them, but most of them, because I think he actually invented the idea of a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin is something that draws the characters' and audience's attention that they think is important, but in all actuality is not important. An example of a MacGuffin used correctly is the Alfred Hitchcock movie Psycho, where everybody is focused on the money in the very beginning of the movie, but when you think about Psycho, the money is one of the last things that would actually come across as... Like, if you were explaining the movie Psycho to somebody, you know, the movie, when you're explaining it to somebody, or even just now, a few seconds ago, just off the cuff, that sound and that motion conveys the theme of the movie better than me talking about the money at the very beginning of the movie. But to the characters, the money is important because it drives their attention and drives their motivation throughout, like, the beginning of the movie. Or all of the movie in the case of The Investigator. But overall, it has very little to do with the actual plot of the movie. That's an example of a MacGuffin done correctly. An example of a MacGuffin done incorrectly is the compass in Dead Man Tell No Tales. You see, ever since the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the compass was always sort of mystical because it was actually like a joke of the British Empire people. It's like, a compass that doesn't point north? What kind of a pirate are you? And it's because the compass doesn't point north. It points in the direction of the thing that your heart desires most. So it was kind of risky to kind of focus on this item that's just sort of been a part of his inventory for all 5 of the movies. And so it was just dumb in hindsight, thinking about the compass and how much importance they placed on it. It was dumb. Obviously, they were trying to make it a MacGuffin, but they failed because a third of the movie revolves around the compass. And you Alfred Hitchcockian fans would be cringing at what I'm saying right now. Your teeth would be grinding, because the complaints that I'm making apply to almost all of Hitchcock's movies that involve a MacGuffin. And a lot of critics during Hitchcock's age also criticized Hitchcock for the use of a MacGuffin, even though at that time I don't know if he had already coined the term or not, or if that was a thing that happened afterwards. But basically, critics criticized Hitchcock's movies for not being focused, because there would be this item that everybody focused on, but it didn't have anything to do with the overall plot. And that's the complaint I have to make with Pirates 5. So they place all this emphasis on the compass like it's this mystical item, but they never explain why it's a mystical item or how it's a mystical item. I won't spoil any of that stuff, so I won't go any further into this point. But if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically, why is the compass so mystical and have these mystical powers? That doesn't make any sense, and they never bother to explain it. as is everything mystical with the Pirates of the Caribbean universe, a simple line like, "Oh yeah, the compass was blessed or cursed or whatever at this time, and this is how it happened," and show like a flashback or something like that. And this is why the compass does this, and this is why the compass points to what your heart desires most. Like, that's all that would have been required to justify the compass being important. But there is no justification in the movie. It's just like the compass is important, and then it's not important. So that was sloppy. An extra line of dialogue, an extra 2-minute scene was all that would have required to make a cohesive inclusion for the compass. Now, the second point. This is actually the reason why I wanted to make this video, was the second point. So, in the movie, and again, this is still within the realm of minor spoiler. So in the movie, the main bad guy is threatening to kill Barbossa, who returns in this movie. For those of you who are unfamiliar, or maybe have forgotten, Barbossa is the dead captain in the first movie. In the first movie, he was the undead captain, the guy I was talking about with the wine going through his rib cage, and he dies at the end of the first movie. And you could say that he dies when he goes to Davy Jones' locker, and you could say that he dies by having the curse that makes him undead. But that's not important. Well, it is, but you'll see why. So the main villain of this is kind of sloppy. It's another one of those tales of the villain either, because like there's this Red Letter Media guy once said, it seems like all new movies, the villain seems to like either want world domination / destruction, or they want revenge, and this movie falls into that, unfortunately. And the main villain wants revenge because of some unseen action that we never were privy to. So that's his motivation, and that's sloppy, and that's bad writing. But writing is hard. I get it. So there's a scene where the main villain of this movie, who for the first third, like up until this point, has been like, "I am death. You cannot destroy me," or whatever. Like, "Be afraid of me. I am death." So here's the thing. This complaint has nothing to do with the plot at all. It's just like one line of dialogue that I wish was in the movie, but unfortunately is not. So when the death guy is threatening Barbossa, right? I wish that this line of dialogue would have occurred. "Are you not afraid of death, pirate? I've been dead twice before. I'm not too fond of the hereafter. But I wouldn't have come to you had I not a plan to save me own skin." That one line of dialogue would have been cool, because, that is kind of a normal reaction that Barbossa would have had. You could say that he died when he was the undead guy. He definitely died at the end of the first movie. And then you could also make the argument that he died when he went to Davy Jones' locker, because the only way to go to Davy Jones' locker is to die. So I say twice, because one of those three is like a half point, so you can combine those and make it 2. But he would probably consider that being the undead and actually dying at the end of the first movie would have been the 2 times that he died. But that line isn't in there, but it would have added a little spice, and it would have been nice, because it would have, been sort of like a payoff to people who had seen previous movies. Because it's like, that borderline does happen where he's like, "Are you not afraid of death?" And then Barbossa should have said like, "I've been dead twice before. Sorry that it sounds sort of Irish or Scottish or something, but I'm not very good at pirate voices or any voices. So that's basically it. Like, it's a minor complaint about the use of a MacGuffin in the form of the compass, and a little like a missing palette. Like I just wanted a little bit more spice with this one line of "I've been dead twice before." I haven't thought of anything else, but I wanted to strike while the iron is still slightly warm, because I mean, like I said, the movie's been out for like 4 weeks now, so this is probably not relevant, but I still wanted to put my 2 cents out there. Thanks for watching. If you watched, whatever.